This lecture is about the life cycle of a digital service. We'll start by introducing the 5 life cycle stages that we'll be using throughout this course. We'll conclude with guidance on resources that are available to help manage a service through those 5 life cycles. Let's go ahead and get started. Like a new company or a new product, a service starts with an idea. A subset of these ideas are promoted to the planning phase. In this phase, there is a progressive elaboration to assess cost, effort, and the return on investment for the new service that's being proposed. A committee of executive stakeholders decides which plans to execute, and those are the ones that move into the build phase. For the new service, this is where the design for the interface, the back-end workflow, and the data model would all come to life. This stage might include a development team and/or an implementation team that's tasked with the configuration of software solutions. When the build is ready, it's time to start promoting the service. Organizations often share services with other departments or users through a subscription agreement. A list of all of the services that are available within an organization, along with the description of the value that they provide to the consumers, is described in a service catalog. Services may be consumed by an employee, a citizen, a student. So often there are multiple catalogs available depending on who you are in that organization. The REN phase starts when the first consumer accesses the service to derive value from it. In this phase, it's all about ensuring the service is performing as expected in the eyes of your consumer. This typically includes managing issues that are reported on the service, availability, change, and even requests for enhancements to the service. A good service is one that's set up to be continuously improved upon. Feedback is collected from the run phase, and it's fed back into the idea vetting process in the form of improvement initiatives. There are times when a service is no longer required and needs to be retired. The retirement process would break the continuous loop and start the process to dissolve the service and its components. Fortunately, there is an abundance of guidance available to advise service owners throughout each of these different stages. 2, 1. One of the most common pieces of guidance is called the Information Technology Infrastructure Library, or ITIL for short. We'll have a more thorough lecture on standards, but for now understand this about ITIL. A foundational concept of ITIL is a value chain. The ITIL value chain defines the sequence of activities required to design, produce, and deliver a digital service. IT for IT is a modern framework for managing a digital enterprise. Like ITIL, it offers an approach to how a digital service should be managed to deliver value to the business. This concept in IT for IT is also called a value chain, but there are minor differences in the functional areas of the 2 different pieces of information. I myself have never been a service owner in an organization like many of you are. I work with service owners and I help them to become better service owners by using the ServiceNow platform. That's part of what qualifies me to deliver this lecture to you today. In a past life, I also founded a technology startup, and we provided digital services to university students. When I look at service ownership through my startup lens, it broadens my perspectives greatly. If you are currently a service owner or aspiring to be one, I would challenge you to look at your service through that entrepreneurship lens. I believe many service owners today are focused on the technology, but they lack that business perspective that's necessary to communicate with the executives that are making the funding decisions about their service. When I was running my startup, I used Porter's 5 Forces methodology to assess the competitive environment. Now, that's a bit different in an organization, but you still have departments that want to buy other services instead of using the one that you own. You may even have vendors that are providing similar services and they're pitching the executives in your organization to replace the service that you own. The business model canvas is a lean startup template. It may also be useful to helping you think about how you run your service in your organization. There are many other business assessment models out there. And regardless of the methodology you subscribe to, be the CEO of your service throughout its entire life cycle. Constantly work to establish yourself as a well-rounded expert on the business value side and the financial side, in addition to be an expert on the technology that you're using to provide it. With this high-level introduction of the life cycles of a digital service, you're now prepared to move on to our next lecture, where we'll describe the anatomy of a digital service. Thank you very much.